Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today I want to talk about this banner over here. We got something new in the game that we've never seen before, and it's got me really excited. It's a community poll for a character to be reworked, and I'll go into what you actually do in-game in just a minute, but first I want to pull up the post on Mobrum and what it describes so that you can get a bit of a better understanding of what you need to do. You participate through your account, once per account, and you participate in game. So this is not something that you have to go find a link to click through. You don't have to go on Mobrum, Reddit, or whatever. But essentially, they want to know who we want updated. The character with the most votes will get an update in the future. Now, it's unclear when they'll get the update, but hopefully it'll be for the next update for Part 2 of Infinity War. And these are the options as per the images that you saw in-game. We've got Daredevil, Hawkeye, Jessica Jones, Vision, Ghost Rider, Black Bolt, Moon Knight, Blade, Drax, Kingpin, and Hyperion. Now, if you click through into the banner, it'll ask you to redirect. If you hit OK, you're going to have this little pop-up page, this little splash screen on top of your game, and then it'll tell you how many days are left, and it'll tell you to place your vote. I haven't yet voted, but I want to make a case for a particular character to be voted on if you haven't voted yet. If you've already voted, unfortunately, you can't vote again, or you can't refresh your vote, take it back, and vote a second time if you change your mind. So please think carefully about who you want to vote for. I want to go through and discuss briefly the different characters and what I think about their placement on this list. I definitely think some characters shouldn't be here. I definitely think there are other characters that should be here that are missing. Additionally, I have some questions about this entire event that were brought to my attention by some fans, and I wanted to extend those questions because they're good. I think the most important one is, of course, when is this going to happen? I think that's something we need to know. And I think another important thing that we want to know is what will happen to the other characters, because yeah, one of these characters gets buffed, gets an update. That's great, but what if the other ones need one? I mean, if we all pick Jessica Jones, that's awesome. I would love to see Jessica Jones buffed, but I also want to see Hawkeye get a buff. Does that mean Hawkeye's never going to get reworked? So I think that one of the challenges of this kind of event, and it's a great thing, don't get me wrong, but one of the challenges is that Netmarble is essentially revealing to us that they know that at least this many characters are flawed, deeply flawed, to the point where we're going to have a hard time choosing which one is the worst, because basically the vote is which character is the worst and needs the most help. So they're acknowledging 10 different characters, or sorry, not 10, 4, 8, 11 characters that are deeply flawed. If they only upgrade one of those characters, the other 10 are left kind of in the cold. So hopefully they'll continue to do these kind of rapidly, maybe once a month, and they'll knock off as many characters as they can. Another suggestion that some people had is that they'll take the top 2 or the top 3 vote-getting characters to all get reworks. I don't think there's that much time or investment that goes into a rework. I think bumping up base stats, bumping up the stats of the skills so that they do more damage, and then adding a few effects here and there is something that's kind of good enough for most characters, like they did to Elektra. If they did it once, they can definitely do it again. As far as characters that shouldn't be on this list, there is a little curiosity. I think that Black Bolt is kind of way too strong compared to all these other characters to be on this list. He's got 2 uniforms. He's got a good tier 2 passive, lots of AoE damage, self-buffing leadership. I really don't know why he's on this list. Not as powerful as Black Bolt, but similarly Moon Knight. Not a great character, not an OP character, but at tier 2, he's very hard to kill. He's got iframes, he's got a good uniform. He just doesn't, he totally eclipses characters like Blade and Drax. And so I feel it's unfair to put these characters side by side. There are definitely worse characters that are more deserving of being on this list than Black Bolt and Moon Knight. Even Ghost Rider, if you're going to be perfectly honest. He's got a good tier 2 passive. He's got a good uniform. He gets immunity. I don't know. I really understand the other 8. I don't totally understand Vision, but definitely Daredevil, Hawkeye, Jessica Jones, Blade, Drax, Kingpin, and Hyperion are among the worst characters in the game. But before I get to who I want to vote for, I do want to throw in some other characters that I believe should have been on the list and hopefully will be on the list for a future list, for a future update, because there are quite a few offenders that deserve a lot of love and just aren't getting it. And I think in the speed class we have quite a few, as you can also see by the fact that there are a lot of speed characters on that list. But Sin is a Sin. And I've talked about her before. I want to go through these kind of rapid fire, but Miles Morales is another one. He could use a big update. I mean, you could argue that he's very similar to Ghost Rider, except he doesn't have a uniform, so that, you know, makes him a little bit worse. His stats are a little bit lower, and he's not a universal, so he does struggle in that regard. But both of those characters are in major need of some upgrades. Ronan is also in a pretty sorry state. His damage numbers are around that of someone like Drax. They're extremely low, and even with a uniform, he struggles to do basically anything in the game. There are a couple more. I think Giant Man is another pretty decent candidate. You could have easily switched out Moon Knight for Giant Man, and no one would have thought that odd because he's just really poor. Another notable one that's off the list is War Machine. Now, a lot of people have been asking, especially in the YouTube comments, I can't ignore you guys anymore, hashtag buff War Machine. Now, I'm really hoping, as they are, that War Machine gets a buff for Infinity War. That would make perfect sense, and that's why he's not on the list. However, if he doesn't, that's really lame. He definitely deserves some love. He's in the movie. He's been in all of the movies thus far, and he's one of the last holdouts that has just struggled. I mean, he's so far away from his pal, Iron Man, that it's kind of, you know, sad. And then, of course, you have characters like Gamora. She could obviously take the place of someone like Black Bolt on that list. It's good to see Hawkeye there, but there's definitely a couple of others that you know, more than deserve being there right alongside the ones that we have. So I thought that was kind of interesting, the ones that they chose. My personal favorite would probably have to be Drax if I'm going to make one choice for you guys. If I had to convince you to vote for one character, I would personally choose Drax. Now, originally, my initial instinct was to choose Hyperion because he is the most expensive character and he has arguably the biggest shoes to fill, being Hyperion from the comics. You know, Vision is also quite powerful, but Hyperion is really lacking in strength compared to his comic counterpart. I mean, he traded blows with Blue Marvel. So if you compare Hyperion to Blue Marvel, is it even close? No way. And so that's kind of why I think that Hyperion should get it. Also because he's a paywall character, so, you know, you're gonna pay, you expect your investment to kind of yield some sort of return, and Hyperion is one of the worst paywall characters in the game, tier 1 or tier 2, unfortunately. However, I didn't end up choosing, and I won't end up choosing Hyperion for mine, because I thought about it further and I said to myself, I want the first one, and I believe that the first vote that we cast and the first character that we choose should be one that everyone can enjoy, so that the whole community can get hyped about this. Maybe the next one can be a paywall, or maybe the one after that can be a paywall, but let's have the first one be universally applicable, pun intended. So I settled on Drax, and, you know, Jessica Jones really needs it. She's one of the only characters, I believe she's the only character on this list who doesn't even have a uniform, besides Hyperion. But she doesn't even have a uniform, so she's really hurting. Jessica Jones and Hawkeye are two easy choices. One has a Netflix show, the other one is in Infinity War, hopefully. But I think Drax really deserves it above all else. And the reason, and this kind of argument I'll make for Drax is threefold. For one, he didn't get a uniform last year during the 2-year anniversary. So the 2-year anniversary was the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 movie promotion tie-in event and that stuff, and we got a new uniform for Star-Lord, we got a new uniform for Gamora, see Guardians of the Galaxy 2, we got a new uniform for Rocket Raccoon, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, we got a new uniform for Groot, we got the baby Groot, months later we got a uniform for Yondu, we even got Mantis and Agent Venom, even Sharon Rogers got introduced to the Guardians of the Galaxy and she got a uniform. Guess who didn't get a uniform? Drax. That hurts a lot. And he's got nothing since. That really hurts. Secondly, he's called Drax the Destroyer, and in the comics, he's created to hunt down and kill Thanos. So what better time than Infinity War for Netmarble to secretly ultra buff Drax so that he's at Thanos killing levels? How beautiful would it be if they took, for example, Squirrel Girl's passive, Cosmic Defender, okay, 25% increased damage dealt against universal type characters. What if they gave Drax that, but it said 250% increased damage dealt to Thanos? One character. He literally does what he's supposed to do. Take down the Mad Titan. Or you could even do like 50% increased damage and 50% reduced damage taken. So it's super hard for Thanos to kill him. I would love something like that, and it would be so fitting both in the comics and both for where we are at right now in the Infinity War universe and how Drax actually fits into it. He's in the movies, he's in the trailers, and he's just getting no love in this game. Finally, he's free to play friendly. You can get him in Dimension Rifts. Lots of people have him, and he would just be a cool character. So I'm gonna cast my vote right now. I can only vote once. Gonna make my vote. We're gonna see now that obviously I'm a little bit behind, so hopefully I've employed and implored enough of you to vote for Drax and follow my lead. Right now Hyperion is in first place, and I can understand why, but I do hope that Netmarble takes more than one character from this list and updates them. I really disagree with Vision and Ghost Rider, but we'll have to wait and see how the votes end out and like how they finish up in a week, because there's still more than a week actually until the 30th of April. We have lots of time, even post Infinity War update, to vote. So make sure you get your votes in and you make your voices heard. Also, let me know what you guys think of this event in general. I know that I critiqued it a little bit with the characters that they chose, and I also asked the question of what happens to the other characters. Will they get reworks? Will they even get uniforms in the future? But I do want to finish the video off, and I wanted to finish the sentiment off by saying that I think this event is fantastic, and I think the way that Netmarble is going about their community interaction and their community relation right now is top notch. I've got to give them the nod here. They don't have to do things like this. They can just go about it the way that they've always done it. They've never done this kind of stuff before, and it's really nice to see that an old dog can learn new tricks, and that even though we're entering the 3rd anniversary, it's been 3 years playing this game, they have more and more surprises for us in a positive way. They're getting us involved, they're doing things for us, and they're giving us the power to choose what we want them to do. And I think that listening to your community and implementing features that your community wants is ultimately the perfect relationship between a company that makes a video game and the players that play it. So I just wanted to put that out there and kind of say thank you, and I hope to see some answers potentially on some of those issues with and questions raised by the character voting event. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know who you voted for, and if you want to change your vote to Drax, it's never too late. Subscribe if you enjoy the content and you want to support me, and of course, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow, and hit the bell if you don't want to miss any of my content. Take care.